Hi, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Coffee and Careers with Shivani. If you're sipping on your coffee or tea, then get comfortable because we're about to brew up some real talk on careers, job searches, and workplace wins. Now, why coffee and careers? Well, think about it. What's the best way to have an honest, no filter conversation? Over a cup of coffee. And that's exactly what this podcast is all about. No jargon, no cliches, and absolutely no sugarcoating. Just real, practical insights to help you navigate your career with confidence. Each episode will brew up conversations on everything from interview hacks and LinkedIn makeovers to career growth, leadership insights, and the ever debated topic of job hopping. And just like the best coffee, we're bringing in rich and bold perspectives from senior leaders who have dived deep into the corporate world. They've navigated the highs and lows, made the tough calls, and are here to share their experiences along with a few lessons that they've picked up along the way. So grab your cup and get ready to take the plunge with us. And speaking of taking the plunge, our guest today is someone who knows exactly what it takes to thrive in the corporate world. With years of experience in leading teams, making strategic decisions, and shaping careers, she has seen it all, from hiring top talent to mentoring future leaders. I'm extremely thrilled to welcome Gauri Das, Senior Vice President and HR at India Factoring and Finance Solutions Private Limited, who joins us today to share her insights, stories, and maybe even some career secrets that you won't hear anywhere else. Welcome, Gauri. It's an absolute honor and pleasure to have you on our inaugural episode.
Hi, Shivani. Thank you so much for having me and best wishes for another one. I remember the last time we teamed up, the results were good, and I'm looking forward to sharing the similar insights with people and definitely in conversation with you, learning also.
Absolutely, and well, like I told you last time, you were our first guest, and you continue to be our lucky mascot, and we saw massive success with that podcast. And I have no doubt that you're here again, and this podcast is also going to be extremely successful. So thank you for
I'm honored.
gracing us with your presence. Very happy and excited to have a very insightful conversation with you today. So, Gauri, we'll start with the first thing that a person needs for job search, which is CV. Everybody says that you need to have a kick-ass CV. A CV, tells us a lot about the candidate's experience and skills. But let's be honest, is it really like that? There's so much more to a great hire than what's on paper. So I want to ask you, when you are meeting a candidate, what are the qualities that truly stand out to you? What makes you think, yes, this is the person we need on our team beyond just, what's written on the CV in terms of their skills and qualifications?
Yeah, very important and pertinent point because like you said, we get to see anything and everything on a CV, and the piece of paper is used as I would say your branding or your marketing ticket. And that's why people want to put each and every keyword that's
Yeah.
even remotely related to the job role, because now we know there is ATS, and because of that, if you don't have the keyword, ATS will reject. And we know how machine
Yeah.
is not fully capable as yet, because there was a recent case where a manager's CV was rejected, and there was a lot of drama around it.
Yes.
So yes, it is important to tailor it or to connect it, but it's not any helpful. It's not helpful for anybody if you are writing something which you don't actually own it or you
Hmm.
don't know it. So yes,
Hmm.
CV definitely will give you a ticket to the interview, but selection is not dependent on that. So few things that I look at would definitely be one, the connect with value,
Hmm.
because that is how it is going to be for long term. When you
Yeah.
are looking for a candidate, you are not saying that it's the association is going to be 6 months or a year. You always look forward to a long association, and that's where, say for example, if my organization is running, I need to check if this person can run or this person can only walk. Because if they can walk, it's okay. But at the moment, my organization is running, so I need to have someone who is running. So value match would be the first thing that I would look at. Definitely, the skills qualification has already been evaluated. Technical skills would get evaluated there. But yes, how they are coming across, how is the psychometric test report, and how it is connecting with the panel. So I have seen cases where candidate would say one thing to one panel and another thing to the second panel, and psychometric
Yeah.
will throw a third data. So then
Yeah.
when everybody comes together, we know that there is something missing. So yeah, these are some of the things. I would say your authenticity would play a very important role, and mention only what do you own and what do
Yeah.
you know in the CV.
Absolutely. Very valid points, Gauri. In fact, I love this, concept of connect with values, because at the end of the day, your value system, candidate's value system needs to match, with the values of the organization. And the run and the walk example is also very apt, because, there's no harm, or there's nothing negative about walking. But if my organization at this point in time needs people who can run, then I will, hire people who can run, right? And for our audience also, I think one of the key takeaways here is that look at the seriousness in hiring. There are panel interviews, there are psychometric assessments. So there are multiple ways of assessing the authenticity of what you write in the CVs. So I totally agree with the point that the CV should have, what you have done, what you have, with something that you have dirtied your hands with, basically. So that you can speak about it in the interview. So authenticity definitely is something that I completely agree with. But Gauri, job interviews can be nerve-wracking, and we've all seen candidates, make some classic mistakes because they're nervous, or they just don't. They're at a loss of words, and it's very natural. But if you had to pick just one, what's the most common mistake people make in an interview, and more importantly, how can they avoid it?
Yeah, so there are many, but yes, like you said, I have to pick one. So if I have to pick one, I would say that not knowing about the organization,
Yeah,
and by that not be able to show interest. So if you
yeah,
talk to someone, I get both types of candidates. There will be a candidate who will say, I have even seen your financials, and
yeah,
this is where you are, this is how you were, and this is the growth that you have got. And I also get candidate to whom if I ask, what is your perception about our values, or how do you see us when it comes to social media, and they will say, sorry, I couldn't go through the website, or I have not googled you, or whatever.
yeah.
So when we have a candidate who is invested in understanding about the organization, the perception is that the candidate is interested in the opportunity and not taking things casually, both the things. But when
Absolutely.
you say I did not get time to do this, then it's like interview is already managed in advance. You were scheduled to come here, and if you are interested, you will at least look up for me, right? Even if you and I are connecting for the first time, we generally look up for LinkedIn profile of the person before connecting. That shows preparation. That shows you are interested, and that's also shows that you are not casual about the job role, because it's investment of time for both sides. If candidates are just shopping or buying around, then it's not being helpful for anybody. So showing your investment, definitely if you are not invested, you are doing it casually just to take experience, it's not a good idea.
Right. Yeah.
But yes, look up for the organization. Be ready with questions that you would have genuinely realized during your research about the organization. So yeah, if I have to say just one, this is what I would pick.
Absolutely, and it is such an important one. When I'm mentoring, professionals for interviews, helping them prepare for interviews. So one thing that I tell them is one, while we all know there is a Chat GPT, use it as an enabler. Don't give, Chat GPT answers. And the same goes, for this entire, piece around being excited about the organization. So I think what companies want to see, and very rightly so, is that if they are investing their time in, interviewing people, and people are also investing their time to come and give an interview. So the least tick mark that needs to happen is research about the company. And also, I would add to that and say that while it's good to know about the company, you also have to be excited about the role. And somewhere I feel that that excitement comes out in the interaction. Both the excitement and the non-excitement, both an experienced recruiter can, make out that that how interested or excited the candidate is in, pursuing this opportunity. So, totally get your point. And totally agree with this, that researching about the organization is the bare minimum that any organization today would expect the job seekers to do. Gauri, you spoke about LinkedIn. You said that, and it's a very known fact that if anybody applies for a role and we're interviewing that person, we would go up to LinkedIn and look at their profile. So LinkedIn basically is the first digital impression for job seekers in that sense. So with so many profiles out there, what do you think really makes one stand out on LinkedIn? I'm asking you this question because I know you have about 75,000 followers yourself on LinkedIn. And I've also started leveraging LinkedIn a couple of years back, and I've seen the power of it. So, what are the key things candidates should focus on to grab the right attention on LinkedIn?
Yes, definitely very powerful. That's how you and I connected. And I sometimes I see your videos on LinkedIn, your bike post on LinkedIn, and yes, they do make an impact. And likewise, they make an impact for the candidate as well.
Right.
Not just one thing, but again, I would look at the approach, how the candidate has designed their profile. Are they just making it casual? Then, second important thing would be how do they respond to a comment, or what kind of post
Right.
they are writing? What are they doing on LinkedIn? If
Yes.
there have been cases where I saw that some of the candidates were using abusive language,
Yeah.
and as you would predict it, we didn't hire. So what are you doing on LinkedIn becomes equally important. It's also
True.
politics. It's also the kind of words the choice of words that you have, or your
Absolutely.
association. So can be n number of things. But yes, it is going to play a very important role at the first stage as well. When you are looking at resume and LinkedIn, there have been instances where I saw that the resume is designed, say, at 95, 99% level, and LinkedIn has nothing. There have been disconnects also in
Yes.
designations. So that
Yeah.
having a LinkedIn profile which is matching with, again, authenticity, who you are.
Absolutely.
If sometimes they just take it casually and they don't update it that ways, but
Yeah.
that is another CV for you, and you have to work on it. So how you are making it, how it is connecting with the profile, what kind of things you are doing, what you are writing, how are you presenting yourself there, everything matters. And not only LinkedIn, you go and look around data everywhere, right? There have been
Yeah.
instances where something on Facebook led to a job refusal, or even firing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, digital is the word.
Absolutely. Oh, yes, I totally, second that. And in fact, in one of the organizations, we were hiring somebody, and the LinkedIn profile was, very well done, absolutely matching with the CV. And we were just about to hire, but we thought that, okay, let's also look at the other handles. And when we went to the other social media handles, I think it was either Instagram or Facebook, we actually saw very strong posts, some very strong political and religious affiliation. And we did not want to hire people with such strong viewpoints about a certain, section. So, so you're absolutely right. I mean, digital. It's not just LinkedIn. Of course, LinkedIn is extremely important. I completely agree that having a good LinkedIn profile is very, very important in today's time. but also what you do with it. It just doesn't stop at creating a profile. It is also how are you engaging with others on LinkedIn. How are you positioning yourself as a thought leader on LinkedIn? I think that is extremely important, and that's the power of this platform. And I mean, I'm sure there are so many people out there who've landed up with great jobs, who've landed up with very good business assignments because of LinkedIn, because of the correct usage of LinkedIn. So completely get it. But I think it's not just LinkedIn. All the digital footprints that we leave, it's extremely important to be aware and use it in the right manner, because recruiters can see you everywhere. They are omnipresent everywhere. Okay, so Gauri, one topic that everybody talks about these days, and especially in the HR circles, where a lot of us who are in recruitment, we feel absolutely frustrated, which is job hopping. And it is such a hot topic. Most of us say it's a red flag, but the people who are doing it see it as a sign of adaptability and growth. What's your take on it? Does changing jobs frequently help or hurt a career in the long run?
So I have been very stable. So the thought process may come from there personally. What I'm saying, I'm following as well.
Yeah.
According to me, as long as you are able to learn, you should stick. But
Yeah.
before you jump, you should try within the organization that if there's anything else that I can get here or I
Yes.
can learn here. Yeah, before you start looking out. And like you rightly said, there are people who have been doing it and doing it successfully for quite some time. But yes, I did connect, and we have some such friends in our circle also, Shivani. So
Yes.
I was talking to two of them. One of them,
Hmm.
I think, three jobs already hopped at a pretty senior level
Hmm.
within 2.5 years time. But
Hmm.
when she tried for the fourth one, at least
Hmm.
7 interviews, she got to hear the same thing that you have
Yeah.
hopped a lot. The second person now in the third job
Hmm.
with 1.5 years, but he continues to say that I'm going to stick here because it's been so many times. So unless there is a technology which is during COVID, we saw that people moved for 400% hike as well within
Yes.
6 months, within 7 months, because there was
Yeah.
something. Unless there's something exceptional, even with that, I would not say that somebody should jump the ship so soon, because
Yeah.
at least 3 months you get to understand, you get to learn. We have still not reached that level where you can plug and play a human being.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
doing it with machines to a certain extent. Even machines adaptation takes so much time, right? When we
Yeah.
bring in a new software, the data says 70% of it goes for failure. So if
Yeah.
it is happening with machine, human being is going to take some time to get adjusted, to get learn, to understand the business. So somebody who's leaving every year or 6 months, you would not be able to gain those insights, is what I would say. But yes, if
Correct.
learning stops, you cannot do anything. There are
Yeah.
situations when organizations get closed or your role is hived off, something like that. There is no choice, but then don't be ashamed about it. I
Yeah.
mean, if there is nothing wrong if it happens to you, because that's the world order today. It is happening, and you should
Yeah.
own it, and you should talk about it without any shame. And I'm sure people have started understanding it as well, that yes, that is also part of life journey of any employee. So to summarize, I would say stick. As long as the learning is there, before you jump, check out if there's anything in the organization that you can pick up. And if yes, anything which is not under your control, you have to definitely switch.
Yeah.
But lot many times people do switch, not only for money, for managers also. So I would say
Yeah.
at least have one deep conversation with manager. I have seen people changing,
Yes.
transforming, and you can continue. But yes, I am against job hopping.
Very, very pertinent points, Gauri, and I think that was a very balanced view. While being in this profession for so many years, of course, a lot of us would agree with this, that frequent job hopping is not good. period. It's not good. There may be unavoidable circumstances, like you said. Learning may have stopped, or organization, your role may have become redundant, or the organization would have closed. But it cannot happen over and over again. If you worked in 7 companies and everywhere something like that happened, it's not possible. So somewhere as a recruiter, it tells me that you would have a problem in adaptability, and you give up very soon. And I'm talking as a very honest recruiter. So while I would say that it's good to experiment, but somewhere stability plays a very, very long and a strong role in a good career journey. That has been my experience too. And I also feel that one reaps the benefits of an organization once you have spent a few years there. The learning curve obviously cannot be the same at all times, but if you're patient, and if the organization's heart is in the right place, you do see the growth, and you do get the learning that you deserve in the long run. I like you, Gauri. I think we are very synchronized here. I am not for job hopping, but yes, if the learning is stopped, and if there are circumstances that are really unavoidable, then one definitely can make a move. And I also ask in interviews, when I'm interviewing people, I ask them this question that you've spent, these many years with this company. Have you tried talking internally? When they tell me that, there's no growth happening. And a lot of times they don't even consider that. For them, the option is to look for another job. Now, that may be because the organization's culture is like that, or maybe, it's a mind block in their own selves that yahan kuch nahi hone wala types. So I would still suggest that any organization that you're working for, and you've invested, I would not say spent, but invested some time into it, never leave that organization without having a candid chat about how you're feeling. Maybe there are, if one door is, you see one door closing, there may be other doors that can be opened. So that's my 2 cents to this topic. But Gauri, there is also a reality that people feel stuck in their careers, and it happens to so many people. There are so many of my own mentees who come for mentoring because they are feeling stuck and stagnant in their careers, and they have no idea what to do. So if someone's been in the same role for years, without much of a growth, and when I say growth, I mean to say, of course, financially and in terms of the role expansion, what's the first thing that you would tell them? What's your take on this? How can people deal with it?
Yeah, so a definition of growth, like you rightly said, would vary from person to person, but we need to understand that it's not always vertical. It can be horizontal, it can be zigzag, it can be anything. So first figure out what is definition of growth. And for some people, it's only money. For some, it's like I need to get n number of people reporting into me, or I need to be at X CEO minus X level. So figure out what is that definition for you. And before you start making an attempt for that role, check out what is possible within the organization. There will be some success stories, probably, wherein people wouldn't have grown vertically beyond a certain level, but maybe they got some additional responsibility, or they did some additional project that helped them grow further. So that can be one way. But the solution to this lies within the organization, unless it is again very restrictive, wherein there is no career pathing available, then it's a different piece. Still, I would say have mentors within the organization as well, beyond like you rightly said, people come to you. Your own mentees have also spoken, because it's very important to talk to someone who knows, and that's what mentorship adds value. But yes, have a mentor within the organization as well. You can speak to your manager, you can speak to HR as well. But sometimes the best insights or best connect, like we say, within the organization network, may not be probably coming from the manager or from HR, but somebody else in some other department. So
Yeah.
who gets connected where becomes important. If you talk to a senior leader, they will have a better view about the things in the organization. And next time there's something comes up, they will remember that there's someone who is ready to do this. So second thing would be the projects. We think that within the organization, why should I take additional responsibility? But
Yeah.
that actually gives you a lot of branding, lot of visibility.
Yeah.
Senior leaders get to know. Even a very small example I would cite about one of the committees that HR run, you can call it fun committee. Even
Right.
joining the fun committee can bring you some visibility because you do something beyond your work. HR is definitely watching you, but if you run an event, senior leaders are also watching you. So
Yeah.
even a small thing, because people always say HR में क्या रखा है, but even that
Hmm.
can bring you a lot of visibility. There can be
Yeah.
other projects, there can be something in CSR, there can be something, so many things that organization wants to do, efficiency projects. So anything and everything that is available there, check it out, what is aligned, where you can gain some skills, where you already know something, and what can help you. So that would be second way to go beyond, to get rid of the stagnation. The third thing would be, like you rightly said, connect with mentors outside also and try to
Hmm.
figure out from their perspective, are you really stagnant? Because
Hmm.
sometimes we may think something, but that's not the reality, because we
Yeah.
are not able to judge it from somebody else's perspective.
Yeah.
Say someone is in the organization for 5-6 years, किसी और ने आके किसी दिन कह दिया, अरे तू तो यहीं पे इतने साल से, and you start thinking, oh, I am stagnant, but that's not
Yeah.
true. So have a
Yeah.
discussion with someone you trust. And I think, yeah, these three things I would definitely recommend. And if nothing happens, then yes, you have to look for something which is very interesting to you
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah, excellent, excellent points, Gauri. I love the last one. And it is a reality. When you've stayed for a certain number of years in a company, then people just start saying, "Okay, you've been here for so long," and it's not. It doesn't sound very exciting the way they say it. And a lot of times people think, "अरे हाँ यार, मतलब इतने साल हो गए मुझे, I should also start looking out." In fact, I'll tell you, we recently worked on making a CV of somebody of a CXO level person who has worked for 17 years in an organization and is now moving out because he's got good growth, but he says that it's been a very long time, and I don't feel that I should be staying here for a long time because others are telling me that it's बहुत बहुत इतने साल हो गए आपको यहाँ पे. So somewhere people start feeling unvalued in the organization. And I think the point that you made around figuring out what is growth, first of all, it cannot always be promotions. It cannot always be horizontal growth, like you said. I would say even a expansion of role is a way to grow. Or expanding the span of control, or having a good financial growth. I think, uh, like you said, it depends on what you are looking for and what is growth as per you. And once you know that in your own mind, it becomes very easy to work on that part also, that why am I not growing in this part, because I should be growing. And I also feel that somewhere it's also got to do with our own complacency at times, if we feel stuck, because see, we are the environment is changing at a very fast pace, and this is the world of people who are adaptable, and who are ready to upskill. So if you are somebody who's not ready to upskill, who's not ready to adapt, who's happy and cozy working with the same old ways, then there will come a time in your career where you will feel stagnant, and then maybe it'll be very late to take any steps on that. So proactiveness today is extremely important, and I think whatever profession you're in, because the rate of change is just so massive. It is so difficult to keep up with it. The jobs that we are doing today, maybe 10 years later, they may not exist in all probability. So one has to be open to that. And I think a lot of it also depends on how much initiative, like you said, how much are you doing outside of your work? So how much initiative am I taking to sort of make myself visible and add value to other aspects of the organization? I think that also really helps. So taking up projects, taking up, even being a part of the fun committee. Oh yes, there is great visibility there. I vouch for it. So I think those are small measures, but they are again very powerful measures in making your presence felt and making your presence count. Great. I'm absolutely loving this conversation, Gauri. And I want to ask you, what's the best career advice you ever received, and how has it impacted you?
Yeah, I'm glad that I received it from a mentor. And that has been my life mantra since then, Shivani. The advice is take charge of your career. Nobody else is going to do it for you. It's not your manager, it's not your HR, it's nobody that can help you grow unless you decide. And I think a part of it you mentioned as you were talking about how to get away from stagnation. Because if you don't take charge of your life, nobody else is going to do it for you. So take charge. And how do you do it? I would say the first thing would be to know yourself, do inner work. Now we know in coaching also they say all the power is within, all answers are within, we have to invoke it. So very important that we first do inner work, we learn, and then we present ourselves. Most of the times people think it's organization's responsibility to help me grow or help me
Yeah.
with a particular skill. That doesn't happen. You have to do it on your own, connect with mentors if there are areas where you need support, and take it forward from there. But taking charge of your career, and that includes raising your hands for any opportunity that comes up, that
Yeah.
includes improving your communication skills, the very basic thing, that includes connecting with colleagues in the right manner, that includes having a visibility both in the organization and outside. So anything and everything that is about you, you have to take charge. You propose it to your manager that I want to do this, sponsor my learning, nothing wrong with it. But don't wait that your manager will come and tell you you should learn this. That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the advice that I have always got. And it has impacted me very positively, because once I started understanding this, I realized that I need to understand. And that's how from HR then I took up admin, I took up CSR for a time being, even marketing. And every time the learning improved, and every time visibility improved, and I realized, okay, once I decide I have to do things and take things in my
Yeah.
hand, the self leadership really helps.
Beautiful. That is so, so wonderful to hear, Gauri. Take charge of your career. How beautiful is that? I think it's about being accountable to yourself for your own career, and and it is so important today. When you mentioned this taking charge of your career, so I was reflecting on what was the best career advice that I got, and I also got it from my mentor, who gave me 2 points to ponder on. One, he said. Be the master of your craft first. And secondly, he said, have an outstanding work ethic. He said that, you may have skills, you may not have skills, but if you have a good work ethic, you will learn those skills because you have the hunger, the fire in your belly to learn those. So I think these are the two things I absolutely live by, which is one, being a master of the craft. And this is an advice for everyone. If you are working in a particular domain, try and be an expert of that. And how do you be an expert? You constantly upskill yourself. You network with people. You network with thought leaders. You learn from them. You choose what you want to watch on social media, whether it is a podcast or whether it is an Instagram reel. You choose it. How you spend your time. So I think that really, really matters. And I think I just love the statement that you said, take charge of your career. You are responsible for your own career, not your manager, not your even not your mentors. They can only advise you. Your coaches can coach you. But eventually, it is the drive from within that has to come. And, Gauri, when you said that you took up multiple roles yourself, like admin, then CSR, then marketing. I've seen a lot of people being resistant, to taking roles like that because they feel that no, I'm doing a certain thing and this is what I want to do and this is how I want to make my career. And what they do not realize is that there is no, work or no job that is lesser than what you're doing. Every work or every job is an opportunity for you, one, to learn, and two, to also make your presence felt in the organization. Any opportunity that you take outside of your work. So I totally second that, and I strongly recommend that if you do get an opportunity, of doing anything outside of what you're currently doing, you must take it up in the organization. It also, sort of positions you as somebody who's open, to adding value when the organization needs you to add value into something. So it always has to be a two-way street. That's my 2 cents on it. Gauri, last question. Since we're running out of time, if you could give one piece of advice to the job seekers today, what would that be?
Yeah, today things have changed. The way we used to hire, the methods have changed. So I would say network, start building it up right from your college days, and don't wait that you will enter a job and then you will start doing it. When you come to LinkedIn, come in advance. Don't join LinkedIn at the time when you are actually looking for a job, because
Yeah.
most of the jobs, and Shivani, you are an expert on that, so you would definitely concur with this, that most of the jobs do get advertised, but by
Yeah.
then there's someone already in the pipeline who companies considering or thinking
Yes.
about. So
Yes.
if you are connected with the right set of people, so understand networking. Basically, networking is not about getting a benefit today and giving something back tomorrow. No, it is about having that long term relationship. So yes, I would say that networking the right manner, because the way jobs used to recruitment used to happen has changed, and it's a lot on references today. I was talking to somebody in Germany
Hmm.
a few days ago, even she said that here the number I think she gave was 83% roles that are already filled before they come on any
Wow.
portal that is related to job. She's a recruiter in Germany. I think India is also moving towards it, and we also do it to a large extent. So be there, be visible, and like you mentioned some time ago, Shivani, that you need to be showing your thought leadership, so that if any opportunity comes up, people should have you in the mind that
Yeah.
okay, this person should be able to take up that role and add value. So yeah.
Very true. Very true. Very true. And I'm sure the people who are listening to us on this episode today will totally agree with this, that it's extremely important to network. You may be an introvert, you may be somebody who doesn't like to network, but it has actually become a reality. It has become, a very key thing for survival and doing well for yourself in today's times. And I've seen, in fact, I have seen introverts to be the best networking people, because it's not only, networking is not only about you or me. It's not only about me. It's about what I can offer and add value to my connects, to my network. So I think that myth that networking is only for the extroverts has absolutely been busted. The best networking people that I have come across, honestly, are the people who are introverts and who bring a balance to this. So totally, agree with you on this. Gauri, I would have loved to continue this conversation. I'm totally loving it, but it's time to wrap up. A huge thank you to you for joining us today and sharing such valuable insights. Your thoughts, especially on navigating careers, some really kick-ass career advices, were truly inspiring, and we really appreciate your time and expertise. I personally enjoyed this conversation with you, and I again look forward to hosting you very soon again on another topic.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shivani. And yes, your thoughts also were equally powerful and enlightening, because you're doing it day in, day out. So you have that wealth of experience directly coming from people, what is happening today. So yes, I am also, it was also very insightful, and I'm glad that I could join this. And yes, looking forward to any other collaboration anytime.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gauri. And before we wrap up, I just want to take a moment to talk to our audience about how Positive Vibes Consulting can support aspiring professionals in their career journey. We offer personalized, professional mentoring designed to help you to navigate key career milestones. So, if you're looking for guidance to take your career to the next level, connect with us on the numbers mentioned below. We'd be very, very happy to help you in your career journey. Thank you for tuning in, and see you after 2 weeks with another exciting session with another power speaker. Keep growing, keep thriving.